Hi, you're here with Ray, Danielle, Sandra, and Josh. Josh is the Director of Operations for Rigo Pest Prevention.
So talking about ants and roaches and how these things come up, if you've got these, especially ants, looking for something sweet, they're coming into your garden and affecting some of your plants or trying to find places to go in there. What do you recommend for how to handle the pests in the garden?
Yeah, so kind of following up on what we spoke before, I will say that investigating the source of the issue is going to be key, because my recommendation would change depending on the situation.
Right.
So for example, if you've got a garden where you have specifically ants and you see them trailing into your garden patch or your area, what you want to do is find out where they're coming from, and you want to treat the source directly. Oftentimes making sure getting rid of ant issues on the exterior of a home is often a lot easier than on the inside of the home, because you can do a lot of work finding where they're actually coming from. Now, certain species of ants can trail very far distances, so you may see them actually going up and down your wall and into a wash, and you go over there and try and find them. But in that scenario, that's how I would solve it. I would try and determine where they're coming from and nip it in the bud there. In circumstances where the actual infestation is starting inside the garden patch itself, there are natural-based materials that can be used that are fantastic at treating insects with chewing mouthparts, like ants, or even crickets or roaches for that matter, such as like boron granules that will cause no harm to the plants or have any sort of uptake that can adversely affect any sort of edibles that you might be growing. So something to consider there can be used. That would be done by any pest control company that could take care of that area. But it really is going to come down to investigating thoroughly first to see where the problem is originating from, and then that will largely inform what products you should use or what would be safe to use.
So do you go and watch the ants go down a mile away and
in some cases, yes, actually. So, a lot of times, I instruct a lot of our administrators that answer the phone is, we get people that call in and say, hey, we've got ants. The first question you should be asking is, what time of day are you seeing them? Because ants will have different behaviors on when they're going to be active, depending on the heat of the day, the time of the day. And it's super important that we have that inspection take place around the time that people are seeing ants. And if that's 6 o'clock in the morning, if it's 5:30 in the afternoon, we want to try and set that up, because that's going to lead to the most success.
Integrated pest management.
Yeah, absolutely.
IPM. Give me a little bit about it.
Yeah, integrated pest management. It's going to be basically everything that's not chemical. And, I often say that we want to educate people about pest control, and really kind of number one and top of that list is that chemical may not always be the best choice. Of course, it may not always be the safest choice, but in reality, there are many situations in which, either on its own or in tandem with chemical, going around your home and making sure that cracks and crevices are sealed up tight, making sure your weather stripping is in good order around the home, making sure that the interior of the house is clean and you don't have debris. These are aspects of integrated pest management that can go a long way to actually solving people's pest concerns without coming in guns blazing and spraying chemical everywhere. And that's one of the best ways, especially people who are on the fence about using pesticides in their home or having pest control even around their home. Beginning that conversation on that footing is always a good way to say, hey, there's a lot of ways to take care of pests here, and chemical might not be the best option.
I'm looking at a list of things. Everybody, don't think that I'm smart. This is stuff that Josh has sent me. I'm just making sure that we talk about them. So we're talking about sanitation, environmental, mechanical, biological, all those four things over that don't include chemicals.
Exactly. And that can be everything, for example, mechanical there, right? So that's everything I was talking about. A lot of people wonder, I've got all these critters getting into my garage. Well, you find out that the weather stripping on the bottom of the garage door is all chewed up on one side, or it wasn't even installed all the way across. And, a good easy test, shut your garage door, turn the lights off inside the garage. And if you see big beams of light coming out from the corners of the garage door, then you likely need some weather stripping replacement. And that's going to help not only keep general pests out, but can help keep things like pack rats and other rodents out that you don't want to see either.
I'm guessing closing your garage door probably makes a lot of sense too, because
exactly.
Someone sitting at this table
exactly.
does not remember to close the garage door all the time. And I had a little critter that got in my garage, and
it wasn't me.
Yeah.
I drove up the driveway and I said, I don't know quite what that was, but do you have something living in your garage? And she's asking me what it was. It was some kind of little squirrel or something that had run in
I
and
think
was
it a
hiding in the
rodent.
garage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something.
I found him.
On
You
that
found
point,
him.
we get people who call all the time and they say, hey, I've got all these flying gnats and little moths in my house. I'm not sure what's going on. And, we'll go out there and you start to investigate, you start to answer questions and find out. Then I completely understand this, the cost of electricity and everything else these days. But, people try and run their air conditioners less in the evening. And so, they may open the windows at night, and they go, oh, well, I've got a screen. Well, those insects are your house looks like a beacon of light and they
Right.
get attracted to it and they can get in small little cracks and crevices. And next thing you know, they're flying around your TV or your, ceiling fan light. And that's a reality of living in the desert. You want to make sure that your house is nice and shut and tight, and that'll help keep those bugs out. And you may feel like you don't really need to pay someone to spray your house, even though it would help. But with that said, really, integrated pest management is responsible. It really is to have that discussion, to talk about things that may actually alleviate people's problems that's not chemical.
So if you've had some concern, talking to anyone who's listening, if you've had concern about some bugs, but you're worried about pets or kids, there are other options there. This is a full service pest control company, not just a one thing and then they leave.
Exactly. And again, that always starts with an inspection, and a part of that process, detailing. And I know that, we do this a lot of times when we're doing inspections for real estate transactions is, even though we are there for the termite inspection, we're actually looking for all kinds of stuff. And if we find other issues that, we say, hey, this isn't a part of my report, but I did find this and this, and I recommend, these 5 things. That's really, one of the things that I think sets our inspectors apart is that really from soup to nuts, we're inspecting for everything.
Go ahead and give us the website and your phone number if somebody wants to schedule a service.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us at www.rigopest.com. So that's RIGOPEST.com. And that's going to have every way you could get a hold of us. You can submit a request right there on the website as well. We get one of my lovely office administrators will be able to respond to that very quickly. Of course, our phone number is 520-744-6177. And you can give us a call anytime. And again, inspections are always free, and we're happy to assist in any way we can. Awards, yes. Actually, on that note, again, I mentioned everybody that's a customer of Rigo Pest will be notified of this in advance. I don't know the specific dates that we're actually going to be voting for this. It's coming up soon. I anticipate it's going to be right around July 1st, right around the 4th of July weekend. It usually runs for 2 weeks, or is it 1 week? Oh my goodness, I've only been doing this for so many years. I can't remember. But with that said, we're going to be sending out a link. It's going to be voteforrigo.com. So that's vote, VOTE, the number 4, RIGO.com. And it will actually direct you directly to where you can vote with the Arizona Daily Star for our company. But yeah, we're going to go for 5 years in a row, Best Pest Control Company. And thank you to everybody who participates.
We'd like to thank Josh Arce, who's Director of Operations for Rigo Pest Prevention here in Tucson, Arizona. It's a local company, locally born, locally raised. We'll be here as long as we will. And the bugs.
Yes.
Thanks for coming, Josh.
Thank you for having me.